Hi there, looks like you're looking for some insight on the new redesigned Volvo XC60, and I sure hope I can help. My name's Chris Wardlaw and I'm the editor at Daily News Autos. The XC60 is redesigned this year, adopting the latest Volvo styling, engineering, and technologies. Prices start at $42,500, and believe it or not, they can rise to over $75,000. For this review, we're evaluating a well-equipped T6 with inscription trim and most of the extras, and the result is an as-tested price of nearly $64,000. Let's take a closer look at the new XC60, which is Volvo's best-selling model all around the world. As I mentioned, the XC60 is completely redesigned for 2018, and you can definitely see that here in the front end of the vehicle. It adopts the styling cues that you've seen on the XC90 and on the new S90 and V90 models. Particularly appealing are the Thor's hammer headlights. And then as you move back, the inscription models come with these appealing 20-inch wheels. You can get up to 22-inch wheels if you want. Now in profile, when you look at it straight on, it looks a lot like the old XC60, which is a nice way to tie it in terms of familiarity with Volvo loyalists. Around the back, you've got the signature taillight design, which kind of wraps up and around into the rear hatch. Overall, I think this is a really well-balanced design. It's attractive. There's not a wrong line on it. Volvo has really knocked it out of the park in terms of design. Now, if the outside's a little bit familiar, the inside, there are big changes compared to the previous XC60. The interior design is basically the same as what you get in the XC90 and the S90 and V90. It's very minimalistic, it's very Swedish, it is luxurious, it looks terrific. You've got very high quality leather, you've got real wood trim, you've got exposed stitching on the dashboard. It looks deluxe. The problem is that in a couple of places when you touch it, it doesn't feel deluxe. Notably here on the glove box. These lower door panels are soft all the way down to the sills, yet the glove box is hard, feels hollow. Same thing here. This surface finish is very nice, but when you wrap your fingers on it or you lean against the center console, it creaks, it sounds hollow, not very expensive. But, you know, there's gotta be some way for Volvo to make this less expensive than the XC90, and that is one of those ways in addition to shrinking the size. Now, all the Swedish minimalism inside the Volvo's cabin really looks terrific. Sometimes it doesn't function that well. I'm gonna give you an example. This is the Sensus technology. It's the infotainment system. Almost everything's bundled here, aside from just a defogger, a couple of seat buttons, and a volume button. Pretty much you're gonna be interacting with this thing every time you wanna do something. So let's say you wanna change the temperature. You hit that, and then you select your temperature, and then you close that. You wanna turn on the heating for the steering wheel or the seats or the air-conditioned seats. That's your control right there. You want to look at the map, you open that up. You want to see what station you're on, you open that up. You want to use your favorites, you scroll through here and you pick one of your favorites. I don't know what you would do with that actually. Do something with your phone, I guess. Anyway, the home button is right here, just like that. And basically this whole thing works just like your smartphone. If you want to access apps, you swipe to the right. Now you can fiddle around with a whole bunch of stuff. Including Spotify, Yelp, you can get weather here, Google local search, park and pay, Pandora. You scroll over here to the left, there's all these vehicle settings here. This is where you can make adjustments to the head-up display, turn various driving assistance systems off and on, and then you can go back to the main page. It works just like a smartphone or a tablet computer, and so in theory, it's very easy. And when you're sitting still and you're not driving, it actually is very easy. But when you're driving, it's a little bit irritating, and I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say I'm super thirsty and I wanna find the closest Starbucks to where I am right now. Now I'm driving, assume I'm driving, okay, because I'm not actually right now, and I hit the button here to get navigation up.
Turning off voice guidance. Navigation is not available.
Okay, I haven't heard that before. So I don't know why navigation is not available right now, but before, when I would activate the voice controls and I'd say navigation, and then I'd say find the nearest Starbucks, it would tell me that I'd have to enter some search area in the navigation system. And my thing is that, let me get my phone out. In a modern car, it needs to be as easy as Siri, okay? So if I press this button and I ask Siri, where's the nearest Starbucks? I immediately get directions to the nearest Starbucks. That's how this should work. It doesn't. It's really frustrating. Okay, that's enough of my rant with the Sensus infotainment system. It's connected in my test car to an amazing Bowers & Wilkins sound system. Now the cost of that upgrade is $3,200. In my opinion, it's worth it because the sound quality is amazing, but I would understand if somebody said, yeah, no, I'm not gonna spend that kind of money on that kind of thing. What else do we have in here? We've got a heads-up display that's adjustable for height. It shows a lot of information. You can actually see it when you're wearing polarized sunglasses, which is a great thing. And there are a few other niceties in here. If you want to switch drive modes, you just push this little lovely knurled knob and you switch between eco, comfort, dynamic, off-road. It's pretty well done. Like I said, the cabin is gorgeous. Some of the technology is frustrating, but I gotta be honest with you, the more time I spent with this vehicle, the more I liked it. Now, as far as front seat comfort is concerned, the test vehicle's got amazing, amazing seats. So there's heating, there's ventilation, and there's massage. To activate it, there's a little knob here on the side. You push that, it brings up a menu here on the Sensus display, and then you can switch, you can extend the cushion, you can adjust the lumbar, you can adjust the side bolsters, you can activate. You see what I mean? You see how frustrating this can be? You activate massage, you turn it on. Yeah, it's once you get it going, the seat comfort is amazing. And in the back, there's actually room for adults, and in the test car, the Inscription trim level, you've got a rear climate control system for the back seat. All right, let's check out the cargo area. Now, the thing to remember is that the XC60 is actually a compact luxury SUV, which typically means less cargo space, but in the Volvo's case, the trunk's actually fairly sizable. You've got almost 30 cubic feet of space back seats. As you can see, 2 full-size suitcases will fit easily, and if you've got kids, this is important. You can put a compact folding stroller between the luggage and the tailgate, and it will still close. Now, over here you've got some buttons that will power fold the seats. It's not going all the way down because there's a booster seat there on the right side, but when the seats are folded flat, you have got over 63 cubic feet of cargo space. Another nice thing about the Volvo is that in the cabin, there's plenty of little spaces to put little knickknacks and things that you carry with you on a regular basis. There's a dedicated space for a cell phone. There's a space to put this key. There's a couple of illuminated cup holders. The door bins are nice and big. The center console is actually kind of big. The glove box is a decent size. So you're not gonna run out of space to put things inside the cabin. Now, when you buy the T6 version of the XC60, you're not gonna be suffering for a lack of power. There's plenty of it under the hood. This is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, but it's both supercharged and turbocharged. So it's making 316 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, and that torque is actually available across a pretty broad section of the rev range. Now in the T6, it's connected to an 8-speed automatic transmission with all-wheel drive. You've got several different driving modes to choose from. There's dynamic, there's comfort, there's eco, and there's off-road. And you've got about 8 inches of ground clearance with this bad boy. If you want to save some money, you can do with some less power by getting the T5 model with front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. It's making about 250 horsepower. Or you can get a plug-in hybrid version called the T8. It's making 400 combined horsepower. It gets better fuel economy, and you've got a small amount of electric driving range. So with the T6 powertrain, acceleration is really impressive. Now we get up to 60 miles an hour in fairly short order. You know, this is the same drivetrain that Volvo puts in the larger XC90, and it feels strong in that SUV. So here you've got a lighter weight package with the same horsepower and torque figures, and so the result is fairly predictable. You're gonna go faster. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if XC60 T6 owners actually surprise some of the more sporting German SUVs on the road in the stoplight drag race. As far as braking is concerned, the brakes have no problem at all hauling the XC60 down from speed. And when I abused them on my mountainous test loop, they withstood that abuse with no problem. My test vehicle's got the optional air suspension. It's fairly expensive, but boy, does it produce a supple ride quality, especially if you switch the drive mode out of dynamic and put it in comfort. It's kind of like gliding along on a magic carpet. Now with inscription trim, handling on a twisty road is not all that great. I wasn't terribly impressed with how this thing went around corners when I was driving it hard and fast. But in the environments in which most people drive most of the time, it's absolutely fantastic. The steering is nice and light. The suspension, as I mentioned, it's supple. You've got a great ride quality. The seats are super comfortable. You are going to love driving this car most of the time. But if you're an enthusiast, you want to go fast on a mountain road, yeah, not so much. Now, one of the things that is a downside of all the power that the engine's putting out is that I did not get very good gas mileage at all. The EPA says that you should expect to get 23 miles per gallon in combined driving in a T6, and on my test loop I got 19.4 miles per gallon, which is really not good. And it's not surprising at all that Volvo is planning to electrify all of its powertrains, including its gas engines, by the year 2020. And by electrify, I mean they're either going to be hybrid or pure electric. So another thing about driving the XC60 T6 is that it's loaded with driver assistance technologies, and they work in fairly subtle fashion. So every once in a while you'll feel the steering wheel nudging you back into your lane. Every once in a while it seems like the brakes might be applied slightly. You've got distance control. There's a forward collision warning system. Volvo calls its forward collision and automatic emergency braking system city safety, and it includes the ability to detect pedestrians, cyclists, and large animals on the road. Some of those things are standard. Then there's a lot of optional equipment that you can get. Volvo is extremely committed to safety, and it's pretty obvious from the technology offering. Plus, you should know, this gets top marks in Insurance Institute for highway safety crash tests, and hey, nothing less is expected of a Volvo, right? There is much to like about the redesigned 2018 Volvo XC60, but at the same time, there are several significant flaws. If you're cool with some of the less impressive bits and pieces within the cabin, if you're comfortable with the infotainment system and the minimalistic controls, and if you're not a driving enthusiast seeking maximum thrills, then this Volvo is likely to prove quite satisfying. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you found it useful. If you're looking for more details about the new XC60, be sure to read our full review at Daily News Autos. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, safe travels.